to the PCA podcast. We have the honor of having here Michael Gonzalez in our office. He is a very successful guy. Can't wait to introduce him to you, or him introduce himself here in our podcast. Now before that, I just want to tell you, our book, Just Maximize, is coming out this Friday. If you go to our website, www.chrisaguilar.com, you can actually pre-order it. So do that. There's a lot of mindset principles that you need to know. But that being said, Michael, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself? What do you do?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Chris, thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
No, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Yeah,
absolutely. So, a little bit about my story. Born and raised here in Southern California. Filipino parents, and they wanted me to become a doctor all my life, ever since I was 5 years old, trying to grow up and, hey, I'm gonna be a doctor. So, fast forward from that moment all the way till college, I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna go into become a doctor. I went into pre-med. Throughout the 4 years, I was really struggling to really be successful in it, and with the amount of work that I was putting into it to really fulfill what my parents wanted me to do. And that caused a lot of tension. And
I can understand that.
Yeah, it caused a lot of tension and whatnot. And then I eventually, Lord willing, I got transferred in big fights, but I got transferred and switched to business. And I ended up majoring in business.
To the sport of business. The sport of business, yeah.
Yeah, and long story short, basically switched to business, and then I took this one class called Business Communications, and one of the assignments was to create informational interviews where I, as a student, would go out and interview CEOs, business owners, execs of companies, and part of the reason for that assignment is to learn rejection. And learn how rejection is a good thing, because most of the time, if you're calling, you get to the gatekeeper, whoever's on the phone, they're going to say no, oh, this person doesn't have time, or whatever it is. Who are you? And I got told no, but
I love that.
Yeah, it's great because it teaches you the art of rejection, because that's something that you need to learn on in an early principle. And so that alone was very good, but also it created opportunities. One of my first jobs, actually my first job out of college, Bird Rock Systems, came out of an informational interview where now I'm interviewing a CEO of a company. Usually it's the other way around. And obviously they are interviewing you too.
Yes.
And so.
No, I love that. So it's so awesome how a few years ago you were interviewing CEOs, and now we're interviewing you as a CEO of your company. So Michael happens to own one of the branches for Chick-fil-A that is very successful. And I got to be in one of your meetings, leadership meetings last week, and I learned a lot from you guys' restaurant. And let me tell you, when I was in high school, I worked at Burger King. Burger King, to me, is a successful franchise, nationwide and maybe internationally. Not sure if they're international or not, but they're very successful. And I thought they had systems. But when I walked in to your Chick-fil-A, dude, you guys have a machine in there of excellence. It was of cleanliness, building leadership, building leaders like I have not seen before. So I'm so grateful to have you here, Michael, once again. And tell us a little bit about how you started with Chick-fil-A. How does that story?
Yeah, and guess what? My Chick-fil-A story started as an informational interview, actually. So, long story short, I was in a Bible study here in San Diego, and one of my buddies and I, we just connected over business. And this was, before Chick-fil-A. This was before he was part of Chick-fil-A as well. And we just met every single Friday to try to figure out business ideas. And then one day he's like, hey, I'm going to work for Chick-fil-A, and I want to become an owner-operator and own my own Chick-fil-A franchise. And he ended up moving to LA to pursue this opportunity. And about a year later, he calls me up. He's like, hey, Michael, you got to check out Chick-fil-A. This is your cup of tea. This is something that you'd really love. You love the brand. You love the business aspect of it. And I was like, no, I don't think I really want to work for a fast food restaurant. It's not really something that I see myself in. I didn't know much. And then he switched the topic and said he was dating somebody. And the girl that he was dating so happened to own the Chick-fil-A up in Northridge. Her name is Mandy, Travis and Mandy.
Okay.
And so with that, I did actually an informational interview with Mandy. So Mandy was this young business owner, owned a multi-million-dollar Chick-fil-A restaurant up in the LA area. And I just started interviewing her and asking her, hey, so Mandy, tell me, how did you get part of Chick-fil-A? What inspired you? What do you love? What do you not like so much about Chick-fil-A?
Yes.
And through that, I realized, whoa, this is something that I think I could do. I could sign up for. And I ended up leaving my job. And during this time, I had a sales job and had a pretty successful tenure there, where I was a sales rep for a value-added reseller of informational technology. And I won a sales trip to Cabo because and then that was the same year that I was also struggling with, should I pursue this franchise opportunity? And I ended up moving up to Northridge, working for Mandy as a team member at Chick-fil-A, scrubbing floors, cleaning toilets, really learning the business from the ground up.
From the ground up.
Mm-hmm,
I love that. So
Yeah.
for the people that are listening to our podcast right now, Michael, I want to highlight that he said you were doing an information interview on Mandy, someone who owned a multi-million-dollar Chick-fil-A, and through that, it gave inception to you now owning one. So if you don't know what kind of business you want to own or what career you want to go into, hey, maybe perhaps start doing some interviews with CEOs on information, how they created what they own. And maybe that'll give you your idea. But I love what you said about interviewing CEOs and how you said, no, I don't want to work for a fast food chain restaurant. But the perspective changed when you interviewed someone, that owned a business. And it's something that Napoleon Hill says in one of his books that I love, and it says that things give birth when two great minds come together and they start collaborating. Things give birth that didn't exist before. So you talking to Mindy, is her name? Mindy?
Mandy, yeah.
Oh, Mandy.
Yeah.
So you talking to Mandy gave birth to a new thought, and then that thought became now a new Chick-fil-A here in San Diego, in National City. Like I said, it's a state-of-the-art facility in my opinion. And I see a lot of businesses because I get approached a lot for new businesses or existing businesses or to coach new other businesses. And let me tell you, I was invited to walk their business, and the level of ownership that the employees have is next level. It's something that is not easily seen, especially at a fast food restaurant. Because most people think the way you were thinking. I don't want to work in a fast food restaurant.
Right.
So I got a question for you, Michael.
Yeah.
Talking about employees and retention of employees, how do you guys keep your employees wanting to continue to work for Chick-fil-A? What is it that you guys do?
Absolutely. So what I love about Chick-fil-A is we're really not so much a fast food restaurant. We're more of a people company disguised as a chicken restaurant. And
I agree.
Yeah, and it's the people that we have that make us who we are
Yes.
and drive us towards success. And so the way that I look at my restaurant is I look at it more as a leadership incubator. So so we got the building, we got the chicken, that's what most people think of, fast food and Chick-fil-A, but I view it as, hey, this is the grounds, our vehicle on what we can use to develop people and teach leadership. And in my opinion, what leadership is essentially the ability to teach decision making. If you can teach that to, let's say, 100 people, and each individual person has that ability to make and teach others how to make decisions, then you're going to have a successful organization. And so a big piece of that, because I strongly believe that purpose, significance is important for all of us, for you, myself, people in general, and providing that for a team, and that's something that's very important.
Wow. As I walked your restaurant, even before, we actually had lunch before we walked this restaurant, and as I started asking you questions about your business, everything I heard back was, we're building leaders. We're in the business of building people. And you mentioned something about a book of leadership that you guys read on a monthly basis or quarterly basis?
Yeah. So every quarter, so we have different layers to our leadership team, but our core leadership team, which is the top level that really steers our ship, we meet every single week. It's almost like a book club, but during these core meetings, as we discuss role clarity, goals, action items, with that, we also take time to what we call our learning insight.
So Michael, we talked about building leaders. Now, could you talk a little bit about the culture that you guys have at Chick-fil-A, where you guys close on Sundays? And me as a business owner, if I was to close, we work Monday to Friday. We have a developing company, educational company, investment companies. Well, those are companies that work from Monday to Friday. But if someone wants to tell me that it'll be good for my company to take like Tuesday off, I think productivity will come down. So can you tell us about why you guys do it?
Yeah.
And are you guys losing money by not working on Sundays? Can you navigate that
Yeah,
with us?
absolutely. Like some people, like from a business standpoint, you can basically say that if we were open on Sundays, we would increase revenue, 13% or whatever.
Hold on, 13%. And if
I don't know if that's the exact number,
no,
but yeah,
but let's just say that
that's a lot.
I want to kind of like just paint a picture and sorry to interrupt you there, Michael.
Yeah.
But if let's just say 10%, and if a restaurant is making $1 million gross and they can increase sales by 10%, you're talking about 4 days more a month. You're talking about $100,000 more in revenue. That is a big decision to make,
It is,
and it's
yeah.
more than 10%. I know that, and it's probably more than $1 million a month. But why do you guys do that?
Let me tell you a story about Truett Cathy. So Truett is the founder of Chick-fil-A, and he actually, a lot of the principles of Chick-fil-A are biblical principles.
Wow. I love
like
that.
Truett's favorite verse in the book of Proverbs is talking about how a good name is greater than riches,
Yes.
and talking about reputation and whatnot. And so, basically, before Chick-fil-A, there's the Dwarf House. Him, Truett, and his brother, they opened this restaurant. It was open 6 days a week. They closed on Sundays. The reason why closed on Sundays is initially it was because of we need a day off to
Yes.
work, and that tradition carried on into Chick-fil-A because we wanted to give Truett wanted to give an opportunity for their team members to rest if they choose to worship on Sundays, if they just want to spend time with family on Sundays, and that just became part of the tradition.
Tradition, yeah.
And that's something that that's a value that Chick-fil-A holds and will still continue to hold.
Wow.
And so,
me being an entrepreneur, being a businessman, I would think, Michael, like strategically, well, I can have a whole new crew to just work on Sundays so that we can stay open 7 days and the people who work the 6 days can rest. But just hearing you saying that just tells me the core values and principles of Chick-fil-A and the founders, and even you to come in and owning a restaurant and believing in the culture they brought to our society as we know now, Chick-fil-A, how much they believe in building leaders. And I love that because I wouldn't want someone to go, I don't care if they work for me or not, if they work 6 days or not. I would love for them to have Sunday off so they can enjoy the life that I enjoy with my children, with my wife. We go to church in the mornings. We hang out, we have family time. We have community time with our friends, and we have connects that we get together from our church, and we have amazing times and parties and food and all the above. But if Chick-fil-A will be open 7 days, I guarantee you employees will probably want to work 7 days. You will find someone that wants to work the seventh day. But that's just amazing that at the core of the principle of Chick-fil-A is to truly build sustainable leaders, that can enjoy their lives. So that's amazing. And that reminded me of you guys' core values. Can you share that with us?
Yeah. So
I think I have a picture of it.
Yeah. So absolutely. So I strongly believe, where there's no vision, people will perish. And
Yes.
vision. So we have a vision which kind of helps us align to where we want to go. So our corporate vision is to be the world's most caring company. And then our specific store vision is to serve and inspire lives within a national city. And through that, our leadership team, we have 6 core values. And these core values are lenses that we use on how we make decisions.
Hear this, guys.
So for example, one of our core values, and it's all broken down to easy action items. So one of our core values is basically passion. So what exactly, we all say that. What is passion? Having a passion to serve. So for our leaders, what that means is being enthusiastic in problem solving. So having that's the action, because at the end of the day, it's very important to have action items for whatever,
Yes.
to combat weaknesses or whatnot. And so these core values, so we've got passion, we've got integrity, always doing the right thing when nobody's looking, generosity, with that could be financial, but that could also be listening more. to another person, right?
I love
so
that.
that generosity. Kaizen is a Japanese business term that translates to continuous improvement. And so getting better every single day, getting better, trying to improve the process, whatever this week's metric that we're trying to talk about. What's one thing that we can do? If I give out one more ice cream cone, will that make us more hospitable? Another core value is stewardship, which kind of ties back to our corporate purpose, which I'll talk about later. But stewardship is all about making sure that we're a good steward of everything that's entrusted to us. Excellence is another one. So what did I got? I got passion, excellence, stewardship, Kaizen.
Oh, generosity.
Well, that goes to our purpose. So our purpose at Chick-fil-A is to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that's entrusted to us and to have a positive impact to all that come in contact with Chick-fil-A. And
how amazing is that purpose, man?
Really important,
I love it. Can you repeat that purpose just one more time?
Yeah. So the purpose is to glorify God by being a faithful steward of all that's entrusted to us and to have a positive impact to everyone that comes in contact with Chick-fil-A.
Yeah. That is so powerful, man.
Yeah.
Dude, I got two more questions before I let you go. But one is, how do you see mindset of a champion? You know, you build leaders and they're all champions. I saw a whole bunch of champions working there for you. And what is mindset to you?
Yeah. So great book, Mindset by Carol Dweck. I don't know if you've read it.
I have not, but I heard of it, yes.
Yeah. So you got the growth mindset and you got a fixed mindset. And I strongly believe with most people, and this kind of goes back to a little bit my story, is something that I'm passionate about is pushing people outside their comfort zones to accomplish the goals that they want to accomplish. And sometimes you might come across, so our restaurant, we've got 150 team members, and sometimes you have someone that might have a potential leader that might just lack guidance and whatnot, or direction per se. And so I strongly believe with individuals providing the guidelines, but not pulling them up to like success, but it's like, hey, these are the action items, these are the steps, these are the guidelines
that you can walk to get to where you want to get to.
We can walk together, but you're gonna have to walk yourself. We're not gonna carry you the whole way up. And just providing those little guidelines for individuals, and then watching them grow and then when they see and start believing in themselves, and then they start realizing that they can make powerful, effective decisions. And it could be something as simple as a new hire team member of just showing up on time to work. That's a decision, right? To make, all the way up to maybe some more executive decisions and whatnot. And so that's how we, going back to the mindset of, hey, how do we develop leaders? How do we make someone? Part of it is just really providing these guidelines, these principles, staying true to our vision, staying true to our core values, and helping these team members align with that vision and giving them the option to do so. It's not like if we were to partner with somebody and I'm doing all the work and pulling it, you actually won't be as successful. That would be a disservice to you. And so, so that's
the value they bring, and they feel appreciated for that.
Absolutely.
In the leadership meeting that I got to be part of when I went to go visit your restaurant, at the end, you gave me a couple of minutes to talk and just share a little bit about my experience in your restaurant and some feedback. And what I said was that I saw three things, and you reminded me because of the way you defined a champion's mindset. I said, I see here people who are competent, people who are integrous, and people who have initiative. See, when you have people that have those three things, you become a powerful team, organization, family, marriage, whatever it is that you're building with competence, integrity, and initiative. You can build amazing things, and I think that's one of those three things that I saw it, and most of the people I saw there. And then their friendliness. I mean, people kept on asking me if I needed something else. They smiled. How's your day going? How has your day been? I mean, that's something that you cannot purchase. You cannot pay a person to smile. That's something that you build within. So that's how I knew you were building champions, Michael. And I appreciate that because I believe that through our organizations, we're building champions. Intentionally.
Yeah.
And one more question on timing. I know we spoke about taking Sundays off, but how do you guys teach your employees, or how do you yourself, control, the balance between, family and work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I strongly believe in it, and I teach this to my leaders. It's not so much about work-life separation, work hard, party hard. It's actually, what could we do to create work-life integration? Because no matter what, for anybody, your work life and your family life are intertwined in a way. Let's say I have a negative family life, that's going to affect my performance at work.
So good.
If I have a negative work environment, that's going to affect my family life, or and vice versa. If it's a positive work experience, that's going to bring positivity into the family relationship. And so, especially with our leaders, that's something that's basically a principle that we teach. And so, with that, how could we create a great work environment, not only for our employees, but even for the people that we come in contact with, like our vendors, right? Our bread guy that comes in every single day, right? These great things that happen, and it all comes down to culture, because you're right. You mentioned that you could pay someone to smile. Or you can't. You could pay them temporarily. Hey, we're going to give you a little raise if you just smile more. But eventually, they'll wear.
They'll plateau
again. It's not sustainable. That's that last core value: sustainability.
Sustainability. Yeah. There you
go. With that said, how could you make that sustainable over a long period of time?
Yes.
Because success is easy to achieve once. It's hard to maintain over a long period of time.
Yes.
And so, like that smile. For a team, it comes down to that culture. Yes. How can we create a culture where our team is all high performers, and they enjoy working here, and they enjoy winning, they enjoy being part of a team that wants to serve beyond the walls of just like people come to the restaurant.
Hey, Michael, would you say that culture and atmosphere that you guys are creating at Chick-fil-A, would you say that, well, number one, is that something that you see across all Chick-fil-A's? Pretty much.
So this is the beauty about Chick-fil-A so what makes a fast food restaurant really successful is one, consistency across the brand. So you get the same Chick-fil-A sandwich at my restaurant as you would in one in Texas or Georgia.
New York,
New York, exactly. Now the beauty that Chick-fil-A corporate, so the way that there's franchisees, they've got corporate, the way that it all works. But the beauty that Chick-fil-A's formula is. The corporate really gives each individual operator the ability to run their leadership teams however they want, whatever is the best fit for that specific thing. So overall, like our corporate purpose, the corporate purpose is the same, the corporate vision is the same, but as far as like our individual stores, what could we do in order to maximize the opportunity of our local restaurants? It's really up to that operator or that individual team.
Yeah, well, I want to congratulate you. I think you guys have done a magnificent job in raising leaders at your location. Also in other locations that I've gone in Eastlake, I think they're doing a good job, but I got to walk years and really feel it was a little extra. But I know, as we all know, that we attract not what we want, but we attract who we are. And we lead by example, not by what we say. So you're a great leader. You carry that. I mean, you walked in the office with a smile, and you just came out from a cold, and you're still smiling. You carry that persona, that atmosphere wherever you go. So, if you're in a position where you're a leader, and most of us are leaders, either in our household, in a position you have at your job, or maybe you own your company, it's up to you to create that atmosphere. And it's up to you to multiply yourself and be faithful what you've been entrusted with and multiplying it. And very last question, Michael, I promise.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
What would the 100-year-old Michael tell the young Michael?
Oh, the 100-year-old.
Yes.
Well, how young is the young Michael?
How old are you now?
Right now.
Yeah. How old are you now?
I am 34.
Okay, 34.
Yeah.
So if you're 100 years old, what would you tell 34-year-old Michael Gonzalez?
Yeah. So, well, first of all, I think one thing that I would tell myself, the younger version of myself, is whatever you do, continue to make sure that amidst success, continue to make sure that you don't forget to put God first in your life. The second thing was just always be prepared for unexpected opportunities.
Unexpected opportunities. Wow. Guys, two things. One, always do not forget to put God first and be be ready for unexpected opportunities. Yeah. Wow. Dude, it's been a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for coming to our podcast. And stay tuned for more, and we'll talk to you soon.